Folks, it is day 101 on our 1930s renovation project, and it's finally that exciting time where we need to fit the floor in the living room, kitchen and hallway. I'm no expert on the subject, I'm just going to be bumbling through it as per usual. Hopefully you can learn from some of my mistakes. Let's get straight on with it. I have no idea if you can even see me, to be honest, but I'll show you the wood that I'm using, the underlay, tools that I've got all set up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see how smoothly this goes. So needless to say, to start off with, the floor is immaculate. It's been hoovered, it's been washed down, it's been allowed to dry, and as you've probably just seen, I've just done a little bit of planing here. Some of these boards were a little bit cupped towards the fireplace edge, probably from where it's picked up a little bit of moisture from this stone slab here, but it's not a major problem, but it's just to try and get things as flat as you can possibly get them. Obviously all nails are removed, all holes in the floor have been sealed up, and we are pretty much really ready to go. We are going to be laying from this direction crosswards, so we're going to start here and go that way. So in other words, the boards are going perpendicular to the existing floorboards. That is generally the best course of action. You get a smoother floor if you do it that way, but it's also down to how you want the floor to look. But we would like these boards to run that way. It makes the living room look kind of a little bit longer, and it also means that then when it flows through into the kitchen, it'll make the kitchen look a little bit shorter and wider. Anyway, the flooring that I'm using here is Elka Aqua Protect AC5 12mm laminate uni-click flooring, and the underlay, I don't know if the underlay's got it written on what it is. Well, anyway, it's gold. I'm not sure, it might be written on the other side. Anyway, it's just what the flooring company provided to go with this flooring. And then in terms of tools and all that sort of thing, I've set up a little kind of work area out here. I think I can freehand most of these cuts with the battery circular saw. I've also got a jigsaw handy for doing little intricate cuts and things. And I've got the multi-tool with a brand new wood blade in it for doing undercutting and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not going to be undercutting everything, which I will explain why now. So because this is a rental property, we are going to be doing things a little bit differently to how you would do them maybe in a like your own house or like a high-end property or something like that. So for example, normally what I would prefer to do is take all the skirting boards off, fit the floor, and then refit the skirtings over the top, and then you don't see the gap around the floor, because you need, this is a floating floor, normally it's about a 10mm gap around the edges, and you need something to cover that gap up, and the skirting board is the neatest way of covering the gap up. But what you can also do is leave the skirting boards in place and just fit a trim over that edge once you're done. Now on these walls here, you will notice there are no skirting boards anyway, because this has all been freshly redone. So what I'm going to do is basically leave the gap around here and then fit the skirtings over the top after it's been fitted. But on this wall and this wall will have a bead. And it basically means that if the floor ever needs to be changed in the future, the skirting boards don't all have to come off. We can just take the beads off here and here, and then simply slide the floor out from under the skirtings on that side. And that also leads in with the undercutting as well. You can undercut literally everything, but again, to keep life as simple as possible for if and when the floor has to be replaced, we won't be undercutting absolutely everything, because we don't want to be in a situation where you literally can't lift the floor back up. And that also neatly leads on to things like thresholds. Our aim is to have no thresholds, because that generally means less maintenance, because thresholds tend to get tripped over and broken all the time. So if you can get away with no thresholds, great. But if there's no option, then yeah, in a rental property, no one cares whether or not there's a threshold between two rooms. But in your own house, that might be something that you might not want. Or maybe you really like thresholds and you do want them. Anyway, completely up to you. What else can I tell you? Probably not very much. I'm just going to start getting the underlay down. I'm not going to fit all the underlay because otherwise I'm going to end up walking on it all the time while I'm fitting the floor over here. So I'm just going to fit the underlay as I go. Foil side down, obviously. I'm going to start off by dry fitting the flooring just to see where things end up down this side here. The other thing to consider is whether or not you can work backwards or forwards. Normally you're always going to be working backwards with laminate flooring due to the way that it clicks together, but apparently you can work forwards with this, but I haven't tried it yet. So until I try it with this particular flooring, we'll see whether or not you can work forwards. Sometimes you end up having to cut the like tongue off the floor so that you can work in the opposite direction. I've fitted laminate flooring a fair bit over the years. There's probably much more professional people on YouTube doing this, but I'm kind of talking at this from the perspective of a low maintenance rental property where you need a floor that's going to last, but it's also going to be easy enough to replace going down the line. So needless to say, your offcut from the other end starts off your next row. Ideally, you don't want to be starting the row with like a tiny little bit, but because this is right in the corner, no one's going to be standing here or anything. I don't mind doing this little cut here, but theoretically, you should really have started a new board probably a little bit longer. But the staggering is actually working quite good by default, which it doesn't always work out like that. But all I'm doing is just kind of dry. I'm not clicking the boards in. I'm just like lining them up. But what I will do is click them in that direction. You can use like a tapping block to tap everything together and make sure it all clicks together properly. I'm finding with this, if you just give it a bit of a wiggle, you know, it just locks in. You see, so just a bit of a wiggle like that, and that's it. You know when it's flat that it's locked in place. Sometimes you'll hear a clicking sound. Just don't force it. If it doesn't want to go in, there's a reasonable chance there's some debris in the groove, so just watch out for that. But yeah, generally speaking, a little wiggle and they lock together. Absolutely great. There we go, straight in. But what you have to do is join them all together in a length and then lock them all in one go. So you just have to gently go up and down the row, just lifting it up slightly so that it gets into the tongue, lifting it up and work your way all the way along. Do not force it. You will break the boards. You'll snap the tongues off. Again, tiny bit of debris there that can stop it locking together. So just watch out for that. Anyway, I'm going to work my way along here, and then I'm going to do the alcove next, and then we'll continue from a new piece of underlay. Try and alternate the packets that you're taking the board out of, just so if there is any variation in the pattern that it gets hidden. Again, there's lots of little bits of debris on this board, but so just watch out for that. And the alignment has to be absolutely perfect. I'm not talking millimetre perfect, I'm talking kind of 1/10 of a millimetre perfect. Otherwise it won't work. So the offcut board from that row that I've just done, if I was to use this in the alcove, it's going to put two joins far too close together. You see, that's going to end up like that, and then we're going to end up with a join there and a join there. That'll look a bit rubbish. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this to start our next row over here, because that's a good size. Again, try and watch out for, like, you don't want to join like there and then another join there. I know I've ended up doing that on our own home floor. I don't really care. But ideally, you want all of the joins to be slightly staggered. You don't want them like lining up in every second row. So yeah, so over here, a new board, and then the offcut can hopefully start the next board. We'll see how it works out. So we're working backwards now, obviously. So I'm not going to click these in quite yet. I just want to get an idea of where the cut needs to go. And obviously for the cut, because this is going to click into that, so all we'll do is lay it the other way around, like that, get our distance from the wall, mark where the cut needs to go. I'll quickly do that with a circular saw. And I'm using my compressor. Just to blow everything down, but as you can hear, it's quite noisy. So depending on the board, working backwards can be tricky. Normally you're always working forwards, but with these boards I gave it a quick try and they're actually not bad. They're quite forgiving, but it's just something to bear in mind. Generally you're always going to be working in one direction, and if you are going to start working backwards, test it first to make sure that it's doable. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. See, just a little wiggle there, went straight in. Then we've got this board ready to go for here. So I'll just measure that up. So obviously over here we've got cables to deal with. So I'm going to be that way round. There's our cut. Back in a moment. Let's see how lucky we get with this. I might not need to do the cut until the next row. I think I might hit lucky. Perfect. So yeah, so this is going to be real easy because this cut's going to be on a board join, which I've had a couple of instances of that kind of look. So by complete chance, our radiators ended up on a board join as well. That makes life much, much easier. I'm sure we'll not be as fortunate when we get up to that one there. Anyway, I'm going to get all of this in because this is just repeating what I've done. And then, yeah, I'll plough on with the rest of the floor, get another bit of underlay down. As soon as I get to another bit that's worth showing you, I'll show you a bit. I mean, it's as simple as that. You basically join it together in rows and then click it in at an angle. Just don't force it, is my top tip. By the way, there's a cable holder. As I say, it's worked out perfectly. It's a little bit more awkward if you have to thread the cable through the hole like in the middle of a board, but because this is right on the edge, they can just slide right in there. Now, what I am going to do, this end one is going to be a little bit awkward, and I'm also not going to waste an entire board just yet to cut out a corner, because obviously once a corner's gone from a board, that entire board's unusable. So what I'm going to do is leave this strip until later down the line, and I'll see if I've got an offcut from somewhere else that I can use to do that little corner bit before I destroy an entire board. Anyway, so yeah, as I say, time to crack on with the rest of the room.
I want you here with me. Am I out of my mind? Or is this how it should be? You made me sing about love. So just tell me if I'm wrong. But it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Yeah! Don't know what you do, but you make me feel fine. And you can't deny we are not just killing time. You should let me know if you want this true. Baby, you just make me feel crazy. A little crazy for you. A little crazy for you. Hey. I'm a little crazy for you now. A little crazy for you now. A little crazy for you now, baby. I'm a little crazy for you now. A little crazy for you now. A little crazy for you now, baby. Don't know what you do, but you make me feel fine. And you can't deny we are not just killing time. You should let me know if you want this true. Baby, you just make me feel crazy. A little crazy for you. I feel crazy. A little crazy for you, baby. Yeah, yeah. Little crazy for you now. Yeah, crazy for you.
So folks, it's getting on now. It's like 6:10 and I don't want to annoy the neighbours anymore. We've had a little bit of a late start this morning because we're waiting on the delivery to arrive. So you might as well say that took about half a day to get the bulk of the living room done. We've just got to do quite a lot of tricky cuts now. So I've done most of the cuts for around this doorway. Obviously that board's not attached in yet. And I've done, well, basically everything. So these are ripped to the correct size. And then we're going to have some quite complicated cuts around here. Because I'm absolutely useless, I'm going to end up with like a little square at the end there. But honestly, by the time trims are in and stuff, I don't think you'll even notice it. But yes, it's worth planning ahead a little bit so you don't do stupid stuff like that. But I'm not redoing all the cuts at that top end, so tough. Anyway, as I say, I'm going to call it a day, and then tomorrow it's just heading straight through into the kitchen after we've got all the complicated cuts around that end done, and just the hallway. So yeah, once we get past this little bit, and fingers crossed, it should be relatively straightforward. So folks, it is the following morning, and what a gorgeous morning it is as well. And to start off the day, we are onto this really quite tricky cut around this doorway. And this is kind of the situation where it's much easier if you can fit the skirtings and architraves after the flooring, but that then means if you do ever have to fit a new floor, that just causes other complications. So as I say, we're going to have trim all the way around this edge up the top here, but the trim's probably going to end around this corner here. I don't particularly want to bring the trim in front of the architrave because that looks a little bit scrappy. So I don't know if you can make out, all I've done is measure, and just try and map out the cutout all the way around here. Try not to leave too big a gap, that it looks ridiculous, but you do have to allow a little bit for expansion. Anyway, I think I've mapped it all out. We've got a little bit on this side, and then, as I say, this cutout here. So I'm going to do all of that, and we'll see if it fits. So this has been fiddly McFiddly. I'd love to know, if you're a professional floor fitter, how you would go about doing this. I think it's taken about 4 attempts going backwards and forwards to get this right. Because obviously I've had this little corner bit to get right. And I've even had to do a little back chamfer on here to get around the architrave. As I say, life's a lot easier if you can take the architraves off. But that ain't happening. So, at the moment I haven't got the rest of the row attached. I just want to check this is going to fit. I think it will. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm not going to click it into place. I'm going to get the whole row connected up, and we'll go for it. There we go, that's about as good as I can get that. I don't want to be any closer to the architrave than that. So we've got a couple of mil, I think we'll be fine. And over at this end, we've got much more room for expansion over this side, because I wanted to give myself some wiggle room here, because I knew how tight it would be around the doorway. So there's plenty room for it to expand and contract, so that if it does get jammed at this side, it can easily expand that way, and it can easily expand that way. So it shouldn't be a problem. But as I say, ideal world, you wouldn't do it like that. If you are a flooring person, please reply in the comments to how you would tackle that. But yeah, it should be easy enough to get that out, trim around this edge, blah, blah, blah. You look absolutely a champion.
I met him on a sunny day in late July, and everything turned upside down. I almost lost track of time as weeks went by. I couldn't get him off my mind. I told him I want that great love, like standing in the middle of a bonfire. You don't know how you got there, but you hold tight, knowing that you can't get burned. Just tell me how we lost track of everything but each other. I honestly don't know. And tell me how we messed up, drifting away from each other. Didn't want to let you go. Cause we wanted different things, and I have to deal with it, but it's not easy. So tell me how to let go, cause you really seem to know how to carry on your own. Ever since I got a good look in his eyes, I just knew that he was better. out that I wanted to take it to the next level. Cause I wanted that great love, like standing in the middle of a bonfire. You don't know how you got there, but you hold tight, knowing that you can't get burned. Just tell me how we lost track of everything but each other. I honestly don't know. And tell me how we messed up, drifting away from each other. Didn't wanna let you go. Cause we wanted different things, and I have to deal with it, but it's not easy. So tell me how to let go, cause you really seem to know how to carry on. Met him on a sunny day in late July, and everything turned upside down. I almost lost track of time as weeks went by. I couldn't get him off my mind. I couldn't get him off my mind. Lost track of everything but each other. I honestly don't know. And tell me how we messed up, drifting away from each other. Didn't wanna let you go. Cause we wanted different things, and I have to deal with it, but it's not easy. So tell me how to let go, cause you really seem to know how to carry on. How to carry on.
So you can plan things as much as you like, but you're not going to hit lucky every time. And unfortunately, on the join onto this room, which is going to be carpet, basically there's going to be a threshold here, and we've ended up with a very thin strip of board left over. So all I'm doing, I've got some tape on this at the minute just to stop it being kicked up. But obviously this is a little bit of a weak point. Once the threshold's on, I mean, it can't really go anywhere. But to be on the safe side, I am going to glue this one little bit in, just with a little bit of wood glue, just so it can't go anywhere. Just down here, not too much, otherwise it'll not click in place properly. And you can feel it click when you push it down, so you'll know that it's in the slot properly. There we go. A little. Wipe off any excess glue. And as I say, I haven't got the threshold for here yet, so I've got some tape down. I'm using frog tape because I don't want gaffer tape touching our nice new floor in case it damages it, but the frog tape doesn't stick that well to the foam underlay that's there. Obviously this will all get trimmed off when I put the threshold in, but just for now, to keep things nice and safe, I'll just pop a little bit of gaffer tape over there to stop the frog tape coming up. And as I say, hopefully that will stop that board from being kicked up just until the glue dries. Everything else worked out actually really well on this. We've got like a little bit of a thin strip at the back, but that'll be held down by the skirting board, so I'm not particularly bothered about that. We've managed to get the pipe join on the join between two boards there. This, once there's a trim in and the pipe collar around that, you're not even going to notice around that pipe. We've got a good transition along here with a nice wide board at the back of the living room, so no weak points or anything like that. Again, coming through into the kitchen, we do have a bit of a thin cut at the back here, but this will be covered by a skirting board, so that doesn't really matter, and a lot of it's going to be behind units and things anyway. And again, running through into the cupboard, we've got no threshold, everything around the gas meter. I've just done a little cut I had to do a cut in the middle of a board there to get it in around the gas pipe. But again, on that gas pipe, we've managed to get it in between two boards, so that's worked out pretty well as well. So all in all, we're pretty good. Once the skirting boards are in, and once all the trims are in, and once everything's decorated, it's going to look all right. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see the room completely finished. There will be a time lapse coming, so watch this space. In terms of wastage, well, we've had pretty much exactly the right amount of materials. We did end up eating into the final pack of flooring, so I'm glad we had that. And that's how much underlay we've got left over. So we've broken into all of the final packs. So we definitely got the quantities correct. And then in terms of offcuts and things that are destined for the bin, it's basically this pile here. I did manage to break one board, so do be careful. This was basically, I'd cut the board and then blew it down with the compressor and accidentally blew it off my workbench. So do be careful with that, because if you damage the edges on the board, it's completely trashed. You can't fit a board with damaged edges like that. It just won't clip together properly. So yeah, watch out for that sort of thing. But yeah, really happy with it. We'll see how it lasts. I will report back. So do hit subscribe, and if we run into any problems with this floor, you will be the first to find out. But the fitting of it took, I'm going to say 2 days. Realistically, it took 3 days, but when you add on time for filming and mucking about with things behind the scenes that are really nothing to do with fitting the floor, it's 2 days of work it took to do essentially 3 rooms. So like living room, kitchen and hallway, and there was loads of like fiddly cuts and things as well. And obviously that doesn't include doing all the trims and skirting boards and all the finishing touches. Anyway folks, I hope you got something out of that. As I say, I'm not a professional floor fitter. If you are a professional floor fitter and have any kind of extra tips and suggestions, please add them down in the comments below, because we learned so much from you guys posting in the comments. It's a great community that we've got going on this channel, and it's always wonderful to hear from all of you. I don't always get a chance to reply to all of the comments. I normally try and reply for the first couple of days after a video has gone live, but honestly, things are so busy at the moment on this project, I'm not getting a chance to do anything. I've got such a massive backlog of videos to edit. A massive thank you to everyone at Doors and Floors Direct, by the way, where we bought this from. Great service as per usual. Not sponsored, they're not paying a penny to be mentioned on this video, but you know, credit where credit's due. Family run business, we've used them for years, and we've just found their service to be really good. And it's got a proper showroom where you can actually go in and look at the floors before buying it, which is few and far between these days. So I'm more than happy to give a shout out to a local business like that. Thank you once again, tremendous service. If you do want to see this house that we're working on at the moment completely finished, as I say, do hit subscribe and you'll get to see the final reveal, full time lapse of all the work that we've done, what the costs were, and all sorts of other information that we are working out for this particular renovation that we've never really worked out properly before. Now, my next job is to cover this floor up, because I need to protect it all, because we've still got loads of decorating to do. As I say, all the skirting boards, trims, I've got the alcove unit to finish off. So I just want to make sure it's all kind of protected and looked after and kept nice until the property's completely finished. And as I say, you'll get to see that on the final time-lapse video once that's all done. For now, folks, as per usual, look after one another, be nice to each other. We shall see you next time. Tatty bye.